fall. It's too dark. Can't see anyone.
Struggle. Yeah, I think
Still can't see. What's wrong? See, should on this side. See a little bit now.
I'm gonna go up to the tippy top, so if you're tired, feel free to take a seat on the stairs. Absolutely, go right ahead. Been doing a lot of walking. So welcome to the Anne Mary Brown Memorial, which serves as a museum. It is still open to the public, where there's a lot of nice artifacts, a really cool metal soldier collection, a lot of artifacts from the past, and it also has two tombs inside it. The tomb of Anne Mary Brown and her husband, Rush Hawkins. So brace yourself, actually, this is a love story. Because they had a very romantic marriage and relationship. They met when Anne Mary was in her late 20s in her parents' summer home in Warwick. That's where she met Rush, and they fell immediately in love and were married for a very long time up until her death in her 60s. Now, Rush was a very stand-up guy because Anne Mary actually had a lot of respiratory illnesses, and it's actually expected to die a lot earlier than she actually did. But Rush actually took her all over the world, tried to just search for an environment that might better suit her respiratory illness, maybe a climate, humidity, pressure thing, anything that would make her life a little bit easier. But they did end up settling back here in Rhode Island, where they were originally from, and Marian did die here, warm in her bed very peacefully as an old lady. But Rush had a very strict will and guidelines about how their afterlife should be treated once he himself also had moved on to the next realm. So what he wanted, yes, ghosts aren't the only things that go bump in the night around the street, unfortunately. What actually would end up happening is that he wanted everything to be perfect for their next life. He wanted flowers to be left on Anne Mary's grave every year for her birthday. He wanted all of their possessions from their house to be enclosed within here. And actually, this was actually the site of Anne Mary's childhood home. And what they had done is actually when the house had fallen into disrepair, they actually demolished it, and this is the site where the burial or the memorial should be. But the only problem is things didn't go quite according to plan. For example, Rush wanted the museum to always close at 4 p.m. so that way their spirits could rise up and mingle about their possessions as they did in their regular lives. But what would happen is the museum actually in the 1970s was open at least until 7 o'clock. So that meant that security was a little weak, and of course the spirits could not mingle amongst with each other freely as they'd like to because people were still in the museum. And what ended up happening is that Anne Mary's dress was moved, her wedding dress. Many of her possessions, her paintings, things went into either missing or stolen, including her wedding ring, which I'm sure did not make Anne Mary very happy. In fact, librarians claimed after 4 p.m., of course, there was a very sense of dis-ease in the building, and some librarians claimed they saw Anne Mary kind of in the corner sometimes, wringing her hands, the apparition of her, not quite fully formed, but you could see the look of tension and kind of disgruntled on her face. And this got so bad, actually, that the librarians called in a sensitive to go down to the basement to see if they could do anything to kind of ease the problem. Of course, it would probably be closing the museum at 4 p.m., but I guess that's a different story. So the sensitive did go down the stairs, and they were looking around at the boxes and storage, looking for any kind of clues as to what might be making the spirits so angry. And then, of course, in the corner, they saw a swirling cloud of mist, and from that, the apparition of Anne Mary appeared, wringing her hands, looking worried just as she ever is, but her eyes were fixated on a certain box that had fallen down and was turned over. So as they approached the box, Anne Mary vanished, and they overturned the box, and a bunch of papers fell out. They were kind of crinkled, very old looking, and they realized the box had an inscription on it that said, "Do not open ever." They opened up the letters, and then they realized that all these pieces of paper were 40 years of love letters exchanged between Anne Mary and Rush Hawkins. So, of course, they closed up the box, and now it's in a display case, and the librarians swear that since that has happened, the museum seems much more at peace. And it is still open till 5 o'clock each day. So if you're ever in the neighborhood, you might want to come by and